Greetings and welcome to episode 198 of the Words About Gamescast, a weekly video game podcast for words about games. I'm your host, Amy Alexander. I'm not sitting in the center of the camera. Whoop. And I am joined this week by Mr. Moody. How are you doing?
How do you do, Amy? How are yourself?
Yeah, 6 days in. Everything's fine.
We're
Went to bed.
fine.
Went to bed on Monday night and was like, oh, I've got a cold coming on. But I didn't think too much of it, right? I didn't think it through. I was just like, oh, you know how you feel when you've got a cold coming on. And then woke up on Tuesday, coughing, fever, all the cool, fun, cold stuff. And then it was about 20 minutes into like being awake that day where I was like, oh shit, like this other things are going on. This is way more serious than it's ever been before. Did all the stuff. Went on the NHS thing. Answered the questionnaire. 2 questions. And then it was
Do you have a fever? Do you have this?
It's like, oh, you need to stay at home. So I was like, oh, right. I've got to stay at home. Great. For 7 days. Fantastic. I'll be fine. Doom, Animal Crossing. I've got Neo 2. I've got video games. I'll be fine. And then it turns out, no, it's not great. It's not great to just be like trapped in one place for 6 days and counting. It ends tomorrow, thankfully. But it's like, oh man, I'm recovering from that. I've still got a bit of the throat and a bit of the cough, it lingers. But now it's like it's been the illness has been replaced with the lethargy because I haven't gone anywhere or done anything for almost an entire week. So now I'm just like, should I play Doom? Yeah, it can't be asked. Even though the controller is right there and the TV is right there and the Xbox is right there, it's like, yeah, I'll just sit here and let YouTube autoplay for a bit.
I could do this thing.
I could. Luckily, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would have gone fucking loco.
Yeah.
With nothing to do. But even then, it was it was a couple of days before I could even record any videos because of my voice, the way my voice was.
Yeah. Well, on Wednesday afternoon when I was at college, I got my teacher got an email and confirmed to us that we would be closing. Well, we were closing on Thursday, but as I wasn't in on Thursday. My last day was Wednesday.
Sure.
So I've been basically off college since then, and I'm going to be off there for the foreseeable future for now, everything like that.
Yeah.
It's a pain, I won't lie. I've been in a bit of my routine has been completely ruined.
Exactly right.
I'm trying to get back into a new routine where I'm at least doing certain things, because my old routine was college, gym, home, bada bing, bada boom, all like that, and that's how it was basically. And I was just every time, and now my college is closed, my gym is closed.
So what do I do?
Everything is closed. I thought, all right, fine, I'll get drunk. Can I even get that?
Can you get drunk? Everybody panic bought all the beer, and the pubs are closed.
Anyway, but yeah,
I mean, the same, but
yeah, it's a pain. I'm not like in your situation. I can go out if I want to and everything like that. I can go for walks and everything like that. That's what I'm trying to do and everything. So, but yeah, it's a pain, because the thing is, what is more annoying is that if I was to go out, I can't really go out. So I am literally stuck in my little village, which is not a problem. I like my little village, but it is literally like, I can literally see the invisible walls around me.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Yeah, it's like you're in a game and there's something cool just over there, but then you try to get to it and you just stop and you're like, can't get through, invisible wall stopping me. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna complain about this. Well, hopefully just for this week, but we'll see. But yeah, it makes sense. It's why I'm stuck in the house and your college is closed down. It's a good thing, but I'm still going to complain. About my individual circumstances, with the qualification that I fully support people staying in and social distancing and isolation and whatnot. But this isn't a health podcast, Moody. This is the Words About Gamescast. Each and every week we discuss what's been going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture over the past 7 days. This week, hell yeah, Switch, Xbox, PlayStation,
Don't have PlayStation controllers, so I can't comment on that.
Oculus Rift, which is finally going to be relevant from Monday.
Yay!
This week we are discussing the contrasting reveals of the tech specs of PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series X controller, and more. There's not that much to talk about.
Not at all. No, I thought it was a very lame week, man. I was literally like, well, there's not much to talk
Understandable.
about. What? PlayStation 5, it has some specs. The Xbox Series
specs.
X, it has some specs. Like, they aren't important, people.
We can talk about them, though. We're going to drag this out as long as we possibly fucking can.
We're going to stretch it out.
We can get it in detail with our amazing knowledge of how PlayStations and Xboxes work. There are timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube for anybody that wants to skip around. Maybe you don't like PlayStations and you want to skip to Xbox. Maybe after you've finished listening to PlayStation, you don't like Xbox and you're going to skip that bit. That's fine. Watch the whole thing backwards. As long as you're here, we don't really, I don't want to say don't care. We won't get offended if you only watch bits and pieces of the podcast. So it's all good. You jump in?
True.
Oh man, that's a lot of reading.
Let's jump right into it.
Oh, this is a lot of reading. Number 1, PlayStation 5 hardware specifications revealed. This is from Samit Sarkar over at Polygon, who writes, nearly a year after Sony first began discussing its next generation console. Has it been that long? Fucking hell. The company provided detailed information on the PlayStation 5's system architecture in a dry technical presentation on Wednesday by Mark Cerny, lead system architect for both the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. The live stream talk was accompanied by an in-depth Digital Foundry piece based on an interview with Cerny, and Sony published the hardware specifications on the PlayStation blog after the presentation. During the presentation, Sony said the CPU will feature 8 Zen 2 cores with a variable frequency of up to 3.5 GHz, and the GPU will be a custom AMD GPU based on their RDNA 2 technology. Sounds exciting. The peak GPU performance will be 10.28 teraflops based on 36 compute units running at up to 2.23 GHz. While the technical capability of PS5's hardware falls short of the 12 teraflops of GPU performance that Microsoft is packing into the Xbox Series X, the next-gen consoles will not be defined solely by raw power output. Yeah, I've heard that before. For one thing, the PS5's processing hardware is much more efficient than the PS4's, so a single compute unit delivers more performance. Sony said that the PS5's 36 compute units are roughly equivalent to 58 PS4 compute units, since the PS5 compute units have 62% more transistors. Yeah, whatever. Perhaps the most significant component of the PS5 is that the console's internal storage will be a solid-state drive. In interviews last year, Sony said that Sony has built custom software and connectivity for the console's SSD to enable vast improvements in loading times and in generating game environments. Sony confirmed that the drive, which will offer 825 GB of storage, will connect via the PCI Express 4.0 interface. PS5 owners will be able to expand the system's internal storage by buying some off-the-shelf SSDs, skip that bit, it's a mouthful, and installing them in an expansion bay in the console. However, there are caveats. Sony is undertaking a certification program since the drives must meet or exceed the speed of the console's internal SSD and must fit within the bay. The certification is likely to be a bit past the PS5 launch, said Sony, so don't go buying any SSDs just yet. Sony also focused on the PS5's audio capabilities. Sony built a custom hardware unit for 3D audio that it calls Tempest 3D Audio Tech. This was partially because of the company's specific goals with audio, which precluded the use of existing object-based audio solutions such as Dolby Atmos. Sony also noted that Sony wanted the PS5's 3D audio to be available to all users, not just those with headphones or sound systems with support for a licensed standard such as Dolby Atmos. I'm going to skip that quote because this is the same as what I've just read. The PS5 will offer hardware acceleration for real-time ray tracing via the same technology powering AMD's upcoming PC graphics cards, Sony said. Sony previously said that PS5 will support gaming in 4K resolution and up to 120 frames per second, and the console will be fully backwards compatible with PS4 games. I'm going to stop right there because I'm going to skip to the update that's underneath. Because what Sony said was they tested the 100 most popular PS4 games, and that most of them were doing well. And then there was a PlayStation blog update a couple of days later, which said that the overwhelming majority of PS4 games will be playable on PS5. So a bit of mixed messaging there from PlayStation, somehow, in a 50-odd minute presentation. Moody, PS5. Did you watch the presentation?
Nope.
I did.
Nope, I did not. I know now. This is the thing. I have to say this. Okay, I have to say this. I knew what this was going to be, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you did as well, Amy. To all the naysayers and all the whiny little bitches out there who have complained about this presentation, it was not going to be a full-on games and everything or anything. It was just going to be a specs thing, and it was also going to be a very technical specs thingy. You've got bloody Mark Cerny on there, arguably one of the smartest men on this bloody planet, and he loves this thing. He loves all the tech. You could see it in his eyes because I've seen little clips of it, but you can see it. He is so enthusiastic about all this tech, what he's got to talk about and everything. And this was just going to be a GDC talk. It's been said multiple times. So this is how this is going to be. They haven't changed the structure of what they were going to do. So all the naysayers and bitchiness about how it was presented, I was just like, shut up. You knew what they were going to do. It was going to be a very technical piece. Can that be boring for you if you do not understand it? Yes. That's why I didn't watch it. Because I knew what it was going to be. I love Mark Cerny, but my goodness, all the numbers and everything from those little clips, I'm just like, yeah, I'm glad I skipped it. I'm really glad and everything.
I mean, yes. Okay, so on your point, my voice is still gone. It's a great time to be doing podcasts. So I went into it and I was like, this is because it's GDC week. Last week was when GDC was supposed to happen. So there's been like special events on Twitch and everything, and then this was coming out and. Yeah, I knew going in this was just a GDC talk, so I had my expectations set to a certain level, and I feel like if you didn't have your expectations set to a certain level, it's only partially on you, and here's why: because PlayStation scored a huge own goal. Like in my opinion, when they tweeted the thing out saying tomorrow, road to PS5. Watch live at such and such a time, when they started hyping up a GDC talk. Now, if they hadn't have done that and they had just dropped the Digital Foundry article and the video just went out, and then they were like, hey, here, check it out, Mark Cerny's doing a technical presentation of all the like nuts and bolts of the PS5 technical specifications. I don't think there would have been many people who clicked on that video and gone, well, this is fucking shit, there's no NAC 3 or whatever. But they hyped it up as if it was going to be a thing. And then it was exactly what we all expected it to be. But it shouldn't have been because of how they approached the way they were marketing it. And
I agree. They overhyped it.
And then on the other side of it, you've got Xbox doing the exact same thing and like putting out technical specifications over the past few weeks, and it's like they're doing it in a way where it's understandable for people and it's really interesting. Like, I know what smart delivery is. I had to read the paragraph a few times to get what they're talking about when they're talking about like the 3D audio and how that works, or like SSDs and why like what PlayStation 5 is doing is cool with SSDs, because it wasn't delivered in a way where it's like it's understandable and digestible. Mm-hmm. It was just delivered in a way of here's the information, and that works fantastically well at GDC. It doesn't work so well on YouTube.
Yeah, I agree. They mismarketed it very much, but there was a lot of hate on it. I'm just like, it was a GDC talk. It wasn't meant for you, ladies and gentlemen. It was literally meant for the developers.
100%.
It wasn't for you.
I agree
So
with that until they tweeted it out, because then it was
yeah, I
for
agree.
everyone.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. The hype should never have been there. They shouldn't have even done it. I agree. They shouldn't have even said it. But I feel like they've put them. The Microsoft have come out and they've just been swinging left, right, and center basically every time. And PlayStation, I feel like they've come out and said, "Okay, we need to do something now, guys," or something, and they didn't really need to. They didn't need. It's and everything, so it's fine.
Yeah,
At the either way, let's get into the spec. I don't know, understand, not even any of it, but I don't. The ultimate thing is, I know it is it's big, it's powerful as hell, which we all knew it was going to be. And going off which we will get into in a minute with the Microsoft, they are both basically doing the same thing in different ways. Basically, and I'm gonna use the analogy that Ryan McCaffrey used on the IGN show that they do about Xbox and PlayStation and everything. I don't know what's called. That basically the Xbox is a V8 engine, and the PlayStation 5 is a V6 but a turbo. Basically, they're doing the same speeds, almost the same powers and everything. Basically, but they're doing it in
oh no,
completely different ways.
no. After living through the first part of last generation, like, and having to listen to all the insufferable arguments about fucking teraflops and frame rates and resolutions, I would
Well,
no,
like
no.
it isn't going off
I
right
ain't,
now.
yeah, I ain't gonna sit back and just be like, oh, but they're both just doing the same thing. And
No,
like,
no, I'm not. I'm just doing it the best analogy for me. That's all it was. I know there's like the speed differences between the Sony and the Xbox One Series X is very much a huge difference. Leaps. It's basically a different analogy. I'll go for an anime analogy for everybody, for ladies and gentlemen out there. This is basically Trunks. So the Xbox Series X is Trunks when he's powering up the face Cell, and PlayStation is Cell, the fast tall dude. So that's basically what it is. No, I'm not saying that PlayStation will beat the Xbox because that Cell beats Trunks in that fight, and I'm not going to say that.
can we just can we just talk about the irony of you calling the PlayStation character Cell? I don't know the trouble that caused a few years ago.
Love that. They love that.
Oh, they loved that. Yeah, they even talked about it in the present. Mark Cerny even talked about how bad Cell was in the presentation for PlayStation, not necessarily how bad the hardware was, just how bad it was for PS3. But yeah, no, it's like the article was just like, well, it's not going to be about raw power. I mean, have you met game enthusiasts? It is definitely going to be about raw power. Not for me.
Definitely.
I don't give a shit. You put a game on a PlayStation, like Neo 2 is only on PlayStation, cool, I'm gonna fucking pick that PlayStation controller up, I'm gonna play the shit out of Neo 2. You put Animal Crossing on Switch, cool, I'm gonna take that Switch out of its dock, I'm gonna play the shit out of Animal Crossing. Get Doom Eternal though, which is on all three. Yeah, I'm gonna put that in my Xbox One X, because it's the most powerful console I've got in the house. That's how it works. That's how it works in this house.
Yeah, basically after this presentation was out, we saw all the hate online. The fighting between Xbox fans and PlayStation fanboys and everything. I'm just like, guys,
the fanboy
get
was
over it.
Oh yeah,
Seriously,
100%.
get over it.
But they did like I don't want to like seem like I'm defending the people who are like screeching about this online. But again, I do understand the argument that PlayStation kind of hoisted themselves up by their own petard a little bit. Just by the way they approached it themselves. They're trying to do a console reveal kind of the same way they did it 7 years ago, even though the world is a very different place. I'm not talking about coronavirus, I'm just talking about in general, like it's a very different environment. But what really disappoints me about it is, like, remember when PlayStation, and we'll talk about the specs after I've went on this little diatribe.
Go ahead, I ranted, you run.
Do you remember when PlayStation came out and said they weren't going to E3 in 2019? Like, they weren't going to E3 last year, so like a couple of years ago. But they were talking about, like, it's cool because we're going to experiment with new and different ways to talk about the things that we're going to talk about things. Instead of doing E3, we're going to experiment with the way we can get information to our fans. And I was like, that's really cool. Maybe they'll bring back PSX. Maybe they'll do this. Maybe they'll do, like, some other stuff. Maybe they'll, like, have, like... And, like, basically, like, there's a bunch of different ways they could have done it. But all they've done is not go to E3. do some fucking Nintendo Directs. They didn't bring back PSX. And what if they do less? They talk to you less rather than more. So the experiment seems to be, what if we could just get away with not saying very much at all to people? And then when they have a console to promote, it's like, cool, we're going to do this more or less in the exact same way that we did it 7 years ago. Because if you remember, before the PS4 reveal in 2013, there was an event quite similar to this where they went through all the technical specs of the PS4. It drives me a little bit crazy because it's just like, oh, we're going to experiment with talking to fans, and it's like, well, that was just not true, like at all. Like, you just did a couple of state of plays. I think I would have preferred you just to go to E3 last year, like, and obviously not this year. But
that would have been a huge mistake if they went to E3 last year.
Would it though? Because, like, I don't know. I'm just getting this sense that PlayStation are out ahead, and they I don't know. Like, it just, and I said this a few times over the past sort of couple of years, where it's just like it feels like they're just getting, I don't know, a little bit arrogant with their lead, and they're entitled to be like, well, we've sold like twice as many PlayStations as Xboxes, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, just do something exciting, interesting, different. I've spent years on this podcast talking about how cool what Xbox is doing is, and every time PS4 or PS5 or what PlayStation comes up, it's just like, yeah, just the same old business as usual.
I think what's making it different though is that Microsoft are coming out all guns blazing and everything. They're being very open. They're talking a lot, basically. That's what I think why it's sticking out more like a sore thumb for a lot of people and everything. I agree with what you said what you've just said. Last year they only they had three direct, I believe.
Know. I'm just gonna call them directs. PlayStation directs.
The state of play. Yeah, three or four state of plays, which were overall they got better by the end of the year.
Yeah, but I mean that wasn't
the greatest.
That wasn't exactly a high bar to clear.
Yeah, so they're just being very quiet, and they're doing it in a very unique. They're doing it very wrong, and they shouldn't be doing that, especially as it's a new year for a new console and everything like that. I agree with you there. Completely agree with you. They shouldn't be doing it. If they are fully going trying to do the same thing they did 7 years ago with the PlayStation 4 reveal, they need to change that fast because their competitor is swinging good right now. Yes, there's one thing what people are a little bit iffy about their specs and everything, but other than that, the Microsoft are doing a very good job. They're being very, very pro this. PlayStation don't seem like they're being very pro this right now.
Yeah, and there'll be people who might hear this and will make the counter argument. Well, what if PlayStation's got the mind share and PlayStation's got the market share, and it's got such a vast lead. There's no way that there's no way that Xbox will outsell it or do better than it in the next console generation. And we all said the exact same thing in reverse before the Xbox reveal event in 2013. Xbox can't fuck up badly enough that PlayStation will overtake them. Oh, they did. Shit. Wow, didn't see that coming. And then the generation before was the exact same conversation. But it's the exact same conversation we're having now. Our PlayStation have just had the PS2 where they sold 100 million units. They're not going to fuck it up in a way where they're going to be in second place, and then they came out and they did the whole, it's going to be $600, and then it was like, oh, they did. There's precedent for it. For anyone who'll be like, I've seen the arguments online where it's like, well, PlayStation's so much bigger than Xbox. They'll definitely do better no matter what. I was like, yeah, maybe.
PlayStation may have the mind share, ladies and gentlemen, but Microsoft have the money. And that's what you got to take into account as well, because Microsoft are a $1 trillion company. Sony are not.
And all it takes is more and more people to talk about Xbox.
Yeah. There's a reason why PlayStation haven't been going out buying out many studios, unlike Microsoft, because Microsoft have a war chest.
Yeah.
PlayStation do not.
I mean, Microsoft identified a problem, re- open the chest, fix the problem. Like, and that's what they've done this
Well,
entire generation. They've just fixing all of their problems.
cross fingers they fixed the problem because we have to see what games come out first.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
But they do. They sorted the problem of we don't have many first party studios.
Yeah.
We've got to fix that. They fix that. Hopefully they'll throw out AAA experiences which we all want. So.
Yeah.
Because this generation, for the majority of their exclusives have not been that great for me. So.
Boo! Sunset Overdrive, most underrated game of the generation. But they've had good exclusives. The issue is optics. Xbox One sold well.
Yeah.
But optically against PlayStation 4, it sold like terrible because PlayStation 4 is just sort of blistering pace and has been all generation. Their exclusives have been good. But when you stack them up against God of War, Spider-Man, Persona 5, other PlayStation games, I'm just totally blanking on like their exclusives. When you stack them up against them, it's like, yeah, well, those are way better. Like, it's a question of optics. PlayStation can find itself on the receiving end of that because with the two consoles coming out, it might be more about services than games in the short term when both the consoles come out, because there's not going to be that many Horizons, God of Wars, Spider-Mans available at the beginning of the both console generations. And all of this is nothing against Mark Cerny. Like, I actually found the presentation quite fascinating, and he's a really good public speaker.
Mm-hmm.
I want him to do. He's got such a soothing voice as well. I want him to do like bedtime stories. Like, I'd pay for for a series of like bed to help me sleep, like with Mark Cerny.
Really brilliant, yeah. The thing is, his enthusiasm didn't come across to everybody else, which is very disappointing because like it's this stuff he loves, and that's always it's kind of like the same of when like for all those video gamers out there. We didn't feel like we had a voice, and I think now we're getting a voice out there because of people like him, giving the developers the technology to do what they need to do, then to give us great experiences, which we have been having of late, of the last few years and everything. So.
Oh, 100%. Like, yeah, like Cerny's a cool dude. I like him a lot. But it wasn't his fault that this went down the way it did. Again, I just go back to PlayStation shot themselves in the foot when they started hyping up a 52-minute technical talk conference. The thing that I really laughed at was all of the people who decided to do live reactions to it. Like, because again, it's an hour long technical specification deep dive, and then everybody's gone out doing like live reactions to it on like Twitch and YouTube. I'm just like, you guys shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have done this.
yeah. Like I've seen like clips and everything like that, and I was just like, you're complete and utter fools. If you didn't know, especially the people who are in the industry, who are journalists and everything like that, you would have known what the heck this is. You know this. They were not going to show you anything except tech.
Yeah. Oh well. There's nothing to react to. You're not going to get You're not going to get your thumbnail with your shocked face on the.
This is the thing about
picture of Knack on the thumbnail. Like you going.
They showed tech demos of games are already out.
Yeah.
So did Microsoft this week as well, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not forget that. Which
makes sense because you're not going to go out and announce how much better the new console is compared to the current console and show fucking Knack 3. No, you're going to show something that people have already played, because then you can do the side-by-side comparison. That's why they've been doing the SSD stuff. They've been doing it with Spider-Man, because you can go, this is what it looks like on PS4, this is what it looks like on PS5. They're not going to go, here's Knack 3, look how cool this is, when everyone's like, well, what's the point of comparison? Knack 2? Like, of course it's better. It's a new game. Like, yeah, it's like they're doing it. The presentation was faultless, but the way it was marketed wasn't. And when you, especially, as I said right at the beginning, just to wrap this part before we go on to Microsoft, especially in the way that Microsoft is delivering information versus the way that PlayStation is, like, one is being done in a way where it's easily understandable for me, and the other one isn't. And no
Yeah.
one's really translating it like very well. Like I read through that bit, that Polygon story there, and it was just like, oh right, that's a lot of technical terms that I know. But if you ask me to tell you why a PCI Express 4.0 interface is better than a PCI Express 3.0 interface, I'm just going to shrug and go, faster, maybe?
Yeah, I know nothing about the tech. I openly admit that. I'm not ashamed of that either.
Oh, yeah,
There's a reason
100%.
why there's a reason why I prefer playing on consoles than a PC. PC, they demand all this craziness to update drives and all this craziness. Consoles, it's like, plug it in, stick the disc in, hopefully it'll load it in and install it fast, and then bada bing, I'm playing.
Yeah, I was doing my indie game stream yesterday, and obviously that required me to change games a lot. And obviously, like, as I was doing it, it was like I was clicking, I was doing, okay, do the next game, and I was doing it where I didn't have my monitor on the stream, it was just my face, and I was clicking through, and it was a good job I did, and it would be like, click, 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 open the next game, oh, it's opened up on a different monitor for no particular reason, right, cool, I have to go into the options menu to get the thing, oh, there is an options menu, shit, well, I'm going to have to do this, and then click this, and then I'm going to have to set this to this, and then I'm going to have to, oh, now it's opened up on the correct monitor, cool, but now I have to do that, oh, it's not doing window, and it's like, if this was like 6 demos on a console, it would have literally just been as easy as click the home button, open the next demo. And it's like, yeah, it is just so much simpler, and I appreciate that. And I'm fine with, like, my games only running at 60 frames a second at 1080p on my Xbox One X. Like, as opposed to, like, well, I could get 144 frames if I play it on PC. I'm not that bothered. Doom is still smooth as fucking butter on my Xbox One X. And that's fine. That's all I need. I just wish the only thing I wish I had was the keyboard. Just for weapon switching. Because you weapon switch a lot in Doom, and I have to keep holding the thing to bring the weapon wheel up. Whereas I just have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on my keyboard.
Just go 1.
But you know what? I'll take that trade off. Anyway, let's talk about Microsoft, who also did an unveiling before PlayStation. Microsoft unveils full Xbox Series X specs with 1 terabyte expansion cards. This is from Tom Warren over at The Verge. He writes, apparently this was written before they did it. Microsoft is revealing the full specs for its Xbox Series X console today. I don't know when this story went up. And it includes support for removable storage and much faster load times for games. The software giant will be using a custom AMD Zen 2 CPU with 8 cores clocked at 3.8 GHz each, which is faster than the PS5. I don't know how they managed that. They're both the same processor. Pay them more money, maybe? I don't know. A custom AMD RDNA 2 GPU with 12 teraflops and 52 compute units clocked at 1.825 GHz each. I've lost the thing. There we go. This is all based on a 7nm process and includes 16 GB of GDDR6 RAM with a 1 terabyte custom SSD storage drive. Microsoft is using 2 main board. Nope. Developers will be using the overall 16 GB of memory in 2 ways. There's 10 GB for fast GPU optimal memory, 3.5 GB for standard memory, and 2.5 GB reserved for the operating system. All of this power will include the ability to expand storage through 1 terabyte expansion cards at the rear of the console, with USB 3.2 external HDD support and 4K Blu-ray drive. Microsoft is targeting overall performance at 4K at 60 FPS up to 120 FPS. One of the most obvious improvements that Microsoft is demonstrating with the Xbox Series X is load times. In one tech demo, State of Decay loads a full 40 seconds quicker on the Series X compared to the Xbox One X. And then there's a sentence that says that's a massive improvement over current consoles. And it's like, yeah, it is. You just told us how big. Right, guys, come on. Come on, guys. Microsoft is using a solid-state drive on the Xbox Series X, and the focus is on speed and load times for next-gen games. The Xbox maker is using something called Xbox Velocity Architecture, which sounds fucking rad. That is designed to improve the integration between hardware and software for streaming of in-game assets. The result will be seen in large open-world games where developers can use this system to create high-fidelity environments that load dynamically using the processing power and SSD of the Xbox Series X. The new SSD support will also allow Xbox Series X owners to resume multiple games instantly and even resume titles after the Series X is rebooted for a system update. Game states will be saved directly to the system's SSD, so you can resume days or even weeks later. Microsoft is demonstrating this quick resume feature using what looks like the existing dashboard for the Xbox One. Microsoft is also demonstrating some ray tracing aspects of the Xbox Series X today. Ray tracing will enable more realistic lighting changes to games with improved shadows and cinematic effects. We haven't seen enough ray trace games on the PC side just yet, but Microsoft is showing off how the Xbox Series X can handle ray tracing in titles like Minecraft. Microsoft is also optimizing Gears 5 with higher resolution textures, fog, and particle counts all running at 60 FPS in 4K. The next-gen Xbox will also support 8K gaming and frame rates of up to 120 frames per second in games. Microsoft has partnered with HDMI. Yeah, we're going to just end it there. I read ahead a little bit and I was like, nah, I'm good. It's about HDMI standards. Moody, Xbox. That was the Xbox reveal. Compacted into one story. And I have thoughts on this when compared to the one I've just read. So I'm actually, rather than kick it over to you like I normally do, because my voice usually needs a rest after doing all that reading, there's just one note I want to make straight away, which is, did you notice that with the Microsoft stuff, all of the Xbox stuff there, but they talk about ray tracing and they talk about SSD, and it's like, it's not just a pure numbers game in this. It's not just a pure numbers game. They're literally telling you why this is going to make things better. Like, the ray tracing thing was where it stood out to me, where PlayStation talked about ray tracing and what it will do. Xbox talked about ray tracing, like, and what it will specifically do in a specific like example, where it's like it's going to enable lighting changes and improved shadows and improved cinematic effects. And this is what I was talking about before. Whereas like Microsoft is putting out their information in a way where it's easily understandable for someone like me who doesn't necessarily know how all this tech stuff works, even after Mark Cerny explains it to me for an hour. And like I feel like that's part of the difference between the two things and why I'm a little bit less annoyed that Microsoft's approach. By a little bit less annoyed, I mean I'm not annoyed at all. Go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to put that out there.
It's a beefy machine, there's no doubt about it. And yeah, you're spot on. You're really spot on. They are doing it, like we've already said. Microsoft are explaining things a lot more but easier for people. They're talking, they're being very friendly and open and everything like that. PlayStation are being very silent and being very technical and everything, which is not a good thing. I do not deny that. Both are beasts.
Oh, they're both good beasts, yeah, 100%.
Microsoft is more powerful, there's no doubt about that. Like I said, going off what I've read from Digital Foundry and Gaming Bolt, they're both doing practically the same type of things, but in unique, in different ways. One is more faster. That does seem like that's what Sony's aiming for, more than power. Microsoft is like going, we are Arnold Schwarzenegger. We will have the biggest muscles out there. And like Sony's like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Big muscles, but he's a fast little dude. That's basically what it is. And it's, this is exciting. Either way, both of these are more powerful than my PC, which isn't that hard to do.
Which is, me. Either way, either one of them could kick my ass.
Yeah, that's basically, yeah. It's exciting as hell. It really is. Both are touting some amazing power here, amazing technical specs for the developers to create us, hopefully, some amazing experiences. Now it's time. We only really know one game that's coming out from Microsoft, and that's obviously it's Halo Infinite. We don't really know. We know nothing from the PlayStation. We all surmising and guessing what Microsoft has got coming and everything like that. Now that's what's next for both of them. Right, you've shown us the specs, but one in a better way than the other. No doubt about it. Now, next month or two, throw out some games here for us.
June, right?
I think so. I think Sony will come in May.
I think Sony will try and do it first. Because now they're untethered, like, I guess both consoles are untethered from E3, but, like, now that Sony are untethered from E3 and they seem to be sticking to their plan, coronavirus or not, I think they're... to go into pure speculation for a second, I think PlayStation were always planning to try and get in there before E3. Because I feel like once you go after E3, it's too late. That's just from my personal perspective. I know that people would have watched anyway and people would have talked about PlayStation either way, but I feel like if they get out first, it's better than if they wait for Microsoft to jump and do their thing. I know that's a complete flip of what they did in 2013, but I think PlayStation need to get out ahead this time, based on everything that we've seen of the two consoles so far.
Also, Hellblade 2, we know about that from Microsoft.
We do.
I forgot about that one, but I don't think that's this year. I think that's going to be next year. So
we'll see. But it's like PlayStation's biggest advantage this time around is the games. Their games. So if they can talk about their games before Microsoft comes out and talks about how much more powerful that console is, and here's Hellblade and Halo and Everwild, and here's what Forza and Fable and what Sea of Thieves is going to look like on your Xbox Series X, stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's how I see it working. On terms of like what we learned about Xbox Series X, and they did something really cool as well. Some of the specific features that they were talking about, they had tech YouTube channels.
Yeah.
Actually playing with the stuff, so you could see it, which was really cool. I remember it's just complete 180 from Xbox One, because I remember when we went to EGX and they had Xbox One set up, and it was a big deal. Like every Xbox demo you went into, I remember going in and play Rise, Son of Rome, and it was literally they were hammering in, do not push the guide button, because they didn't want anyone to see their dashboard. Like, and it was like, don't push the guide button. You cannot look at this data. Yeah, it was a whole different thing. And now it's just like, yeah, go on, have a play. What do you think? Oh, yeah, you go on.
I was going to ask you, so do you think it's going to be the same dashboard?
I don't know.
Or do you think the Series X is going to have a different one?
I hope the Series X has a different one. The Xbox One dashboard is a lot better than it used to be. Like, it's a lot cleaner now. Like, it used to be a horror show. And it's been much improved. I hope it has a different one. They could just be loaded currently with the current OS. Because
that's true.
Like, it's not doing anything substantially different from the One X at the moment. At least in the demos that they're showing off. Like, but if it isn't, it's not a big deal. I'm like, for me personally, like, if it was the dashboard from like 2015, then it would have been a big deal, and I would have been like, come on, you got to fix this fucking shit. But right now, it's like, no, it is navigable. It is a lot faster. It could be faster still, but it's cool. What do you think about the hard drive expansion solution? So with PlayStation 5, they're talking about you being able, as long as the hard drive is equal to or faster than the one that's built into the PlayStation, you can, and it's the right size to fit into the expansion slot. Like, you can buy non-proprietary hard drives, so it doesn't have to be made by PlayStation. You can just buy it, slot it in. It's all good. And then with Xbox, they're kind of bringing back memory cards, like in a completely different way, where it's like there's going to be proprietary 1 terabyte expansion cards that you just plug into a slot in the Xbox. So those are going to be either made by Microsoft or made licensed by a third party.
I think it's Seagate, isn't
it? Probably. Yeah, I've seen Seagate branded hard drives before, like PlayStation and Xbox branded Seagate hard drives. It's like it's like what you were saying. It's the same thing, but slightly different approaches. Whereas like one is like, you can just buy one off the shelf. So if you see a good deal, get it. Whereas Xbox is like, these are the things that we're going to sell you. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, I just remember memory cards and just being like, I remember memory cards. They were fun.
We remember those days.
It is interesting that they are kind of both admitting that in the next generation, when folk, like, because games are fucking huge now. Some of the AAA games that you can download on your consoles are so big. It's like 1 terabyte might not be enough, but they do need to keep the cost of the console down. Like, if you're talking about installing a bigger SSD in your console, it's like, that's going to push the price of the console up dramatically. Whereas it's just like, you could just expand it, and they've actually built in specific ports for the expansion, so it's not like a USB thing anymore. I like that.
I won't lie, I don't really have that big of a bother with it. I won't. I thought this is what they were gonna basically do because I didn't think they were gonna go anything higher than 1 terabyte. I really just feel like what you said to get the costs down and everything. I think if they could have gone 500, they would have and everything.
Oh,
But
they definitely couldn't.
no, I know, that's what I'm saying. But if they could have, I think they would have. But they would have.
Yeah,
The
100%,
backlash on it would have been
100%.
crazy for that.
That would have
But
been that would have been a killer thing. Like if one had come out
yeah,
and been like it's 500 and the other one was 1 terabyte, that would have been one console winning the fucking console generation. Like,
yeah. Um, that's a thing. That's all it is for me. I honestly do not. I can see why people are annoyed by it. I really do. But I'm just like, all right. I've had to go out and buy a 1 terabyte external hard drive anyway. That cost me a lot of money either way, just to play it for my Xbox for the Series X, which is only a 500 gigabyte. That's how it is for me. I'm really like, I see where people are coming from, but at the same time, people will get over this really fast.
I mean, no one was complaining. I was just talking about how I like the fact that there's a built-in solution in the console.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's not ideal, but it's better than them not doing anything.
Yeah. They could have not done anything.
And
That's
they
the thing
don't
about
do
it.
anything.
They could have really not done anything, and they've given you a solution. Yes, Microsoft literally sounds like they're sticking to one manufacturer in Seagate. That's fine. That's whatever. My external hard drive is a Seagate. That works fine for me. I'm fine. Like I say, I see where people are coming from, but I'm just like, you're seriously gonna get over this really fast, and you know you are. You probably would have gone out and bought an external one either way, or for a big, one of them anyway, just because you wanted more space.
Have
And
people
you
been
know you would
complaining
have.
about this? Like,
Sorry?
have people been complaining about it? Like
I
the
think
hard
people.
drives.
I think
I
people
mean,
are going off the videos I've watched and everything like that. People are saying it's controversial what what they're doing
all
and
right.
everything with this. I'm just like, is
I was
it
gonna
really?
say I brought it up specifically because I was like, it's not controversial. It's actually kind of cool. But
Oh,
apparently,
did you?
yeah, yeah, oh
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
I
only
was
going off
involved.
on the videos. I was like, I think Digital Foundry says they're doing. It's a very intriguing that they're doing it this way. Gaming Bolt I watched, they said they saying it's very controversial. I think IGN have said it's controversial and everything like that.
Huh?
But
Go
I might be
figure.
wrong there.
Go figure.
Uh, some other people who I listen to are saying it's controversial, but it's like the same. Like I'm saying, we'll get over it.
Fair enough.
But okay, so
No, no, it's
everyone,
fine.
like for
I
me, it doesn't
wasn't
bother me. So my question to you is then is you obviously seen it? It's a cool little thing. Why is it cool for you? May I ask?
just because it's instead of it's just the way they're forward thinking about it, rather than it being like, oh, you can buy a hard drive and you can plug it into your Xbox and or PlayStation 5. It's like, no, we've actually got a slot. So if you want to upgrade your storage space on either console, it's like you just buy a thing and just plug it directly into your console.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that's a cool little feature. Like, cool, good. Like, that's great.
But yeah, it's people get over it. They could have, like we've already said, they could have not done anything.
I like Quick Resume as well. Being able to, like, do what we're going to do later. Like, I've got Doom Eternal currently suspended on my Xbox. We'll be playing another game later. And obviously, once I open that game, Doom Eternal will close down and I'll have to reopen it. And, like, so the idea of being able to, like, switch between, like, multiple games and then just come back to, like, where I was, that's going to be a useful feature. It's not a killer
friendly.
app. Yeah, it's not a killer app or anything, but it is kind of like, this is going to be kind of useful for, like, I'm sitting here playing, I don't know, no. I'm sitting here playing Hellblade, and then it's like, bloop, Mr. Moody has invited you to play Halo Infinite. I'm like, alright, cool, Moody's free, and I'll click the button, and I'll go play Halo Infinite. And then we'll finish, and I'll be like, oh, cool, well, I've got like an hour, and then I'll just switch back over to Hellblade, and I'll be like, keep going from exactly where I was. It's like, that's cool.
And Liz, if you think it'll be an hour for her, it won't be.
No, it'll be the whole
3 hours later. What time is it? Oh, it's 3 a.m.
I haven't done that for so long. I haven't done that in a long time. Anyway, let's move on. We spent 50 minutes talking about this two things, because it's the only two things to talk about, but there's a lot to talk about. But I wanted to talk specifically about this next one because I think there's a thing in here which is something I've been screaming at Microsoft for since 2013. I'll ask you to clarify, to confirm my suspicions once I've read the article. Number 3, Microsoft details changes for Xbox Series X wireless controller. This is from Nicole Carpenter over at Polygon, who writes, on Monday, Microsoft revealed a whole bunch of new details on its next-gen console, the Xbox Series X, full specs, tech demos, and details on the new wireless controller. The console is expected to be released in holiday 2020, and with it, players will get a new controller, which is said to be improved upon the Xbox One controller in smart, revolutionary ways. Microsoft outlined the controller's details in an interview with Xbox senior designer Ryan Whittaker. Whittaker said, the Xbox team designed the new controller with inclusivity in mind. Improved ergonomics for a wider range of people, better cross-device connectivity, easier sharing, and reduced latency, end quote. The new controller should fit more hand sizes, especially smaller hands, Whittaker said. Bumpers have been rounded, triggers reduced, and grips sculpted for better accessibility. The new D-pad too is designed with the intent to boost performance and accessibility, according to the designer. When looking at the wide range of game genres and personal playstyles today, the D-pad is used in a lot of different ways, Whittaker said. The slightly deeper dish gives your thumb a nice little home to sit in. The angles are finely tuned and give you a good amount of leverage with minimal movement. Likewise, the new controller will work with the Xbox One too, but also with PC, Android, and iOS. It'll remember devices to make switching between easier, Microsoft said. A USB-C port is available for charging and playing. And we'll talk about that USB-C port in a second. Microsoft has also shared more information about the new controller's share button announced in December, which is placed right below the big ol' Xbox button. It'll be used to take screenshots and record video without opening menus. Then you can easily access and share content with your social platforms or directly with your friends, Whittaker said. New Xbox controller, obviously. Does this one, it's got a USB-C port for charging. Does this mean we're finally ditching the AA batteries?
I'm pretty sure no.
I will fucking kill. I will go, where is it, Redmond? It's Redmond, right, in America?
I think so.
I will go to Redmond and I will burn that entire office to the ground. If I have to put AA batteries in my Xbox Series X controller, I'm gonna fucking burn that place to the ground. I'm gonna burn it. It's going down. Look out, Microsoft. I'm coming for you. And I'm not even joking. It's 2020, for fuck's sake. It's 2020.
A cost-saving thing for them, I guess.
Fuck off. I would accept that if this also took AA batteries. But it doesn't. Look, there's a little charging port right here, and it's got a built-in battery.
But isn't there a charging port for you for the Xbox controllers? It's just that you have to stay wired.
Well, no, the wired control, because when you plug it in, all it's doing is powering the controller, and then the controller still connects to the Xbox wirelessly. It's just turning the controller on, basically, when you wire it in. But, this...
But if you don't want to have batteries in it, you can have the batteries out and put...
Right, but here's the thing.
Wired.
Here's the thing. I want to have this wireless. I want to be sat over there with no wire, trailing all the way across my fucking room, just so I can play on my Xbox. That's when I play on my big TV, is over there. I know, I've got a monitor right in front of me. So, this is where I record. That's where I just play. And it's I don't want a big ass fucking wire. I'm sick of the big ass fucking wire. Hey.
No. Yeah, I'm pretty sure a couple of people have come out, a couple of big sites have come out and said that you're going to be still doing AA batteries.
It's fucking ridiculous. someone's going to pay. I'm looking it up now, because if this is true, I'm going to be it's meant to be the most powerful console in the world, but then it's we're going to use batteries.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. I'm looking it up now, and I think you might be right. Continue. Oh, fuck off, man. It's I'm going on the website, and it's the normal thing. Do you want cookies? Oh, here's GDPR. Oh, you've got an ad blocker. I'm gonna be here for like 5 seconds, guys. I'm not even looking at your hands. I'm literally just reading the thing. Let's see how many paragraphs in before they actually
Answer your question.
answer the question in the headline. 1, 2, nope, 3. Talking about the DualShock 4. Here we go. 4. The has continue opt powered, which means gamers can continue to buy batteries. YouTuber Austin Emmons got his hand and he shows it off the video. Okay. Paragraph 5. Seems an odd decision to ship the controller with the batteries. Something we use to power remote controls or kitchen clocks. That's good. 6. The Xbox wireless controller uses AA batteries and it's 2020 Microsoft. Fucking get your shit together and just realize that it doesn't need to be this way. It doesn't need to be this way.
Maybe if PlayStation did it with batteries, that means they could get it down to $3.99.
I doubt it, because, like, it's not that expensive to put a fucking battery in your fucking controller. It can't be. It can't be, because the Xbox controller is more expensive than the DualShock 4. Like, so it's not even a cost-saving thing at this point. PlayStation's... Oh, you know what? I've just spent 50 minutes before we read this story praising Microsoft for, like, I take it all back. PlayStation 5 is infinitely superior.
You heard it here, people. Cell is superior.
I never said Cell was superior. So I'll go down the Cell route. I spoke my piece about Cell a long time ago. Like, the controller sounds really good, like, ergonomically, and I like the fact that they're talking about accessibility, and it's like, these are the guys that worked with, like, some other companies to make the accessibility controller. So, like, when they're saying it's been designed so that more people can use it comfortably, I believe them. Like, yeah. I believe that it will be, because they have a good track record with accessibility.
Yeah, their controls are pretty awesome. No one can deny that.
Yeah. I mean, like, until DualShock 4, like, they were always the better controllers over PlayStation. And even now, it's a tie. Like, I just really like the DualShock 4 and the Xbox One controller. And the Xbox One Elite controller.
Yeah, PlayStation went leaps and bounds with the new controller for the PlayStation 4, so hopefully they've done that for the PlayStation 5 and everything.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, because I hated the DualShock 3. It was too small for my hands. But I remember the first time I put my hands on a DualShock 4 at EGX, and I was like, holy shit, this feels amazing. Like, to hold in my hands. I think it was, could have been Titanfall, because that wasn't on PlayStation. That was a game. Was Knack the first PS4 game I ever played? I think it might have been. I think it might have been when I was playing Knack. Because it was the only one that... It was FIFA and Knack were the only ones that didn't have a queue. So I might have gone in... Because you got this weird thing where you got tokens and you could trade them in to play our game. And you only had a certain amount. And I was like, I went up. It was a whole thing. It was because it was the first time the PS4 had been playable in the UK. So they were trying to, like, manage queues, and that was how they decided to do it. I think Knack might have been the first PS4 game I ever played.
Fascinating.
Yep. I also played Warframe and Killzone. And Drive Club.
Oh.
Remember Drive Club?
That's a thing.
There was also...
I just recently, I think it was about a month ago, I would say, I just recently rewatched the PlayStation 4 reveal. And like the guy comes up from Drive Club thinking, damn.
Who's going to be the next
big
big
there
thing.
anymore, mate. I bet you. I can tell you the future if you want me to, mate.
It's a shame. Yeah, it was.
It was a weird game to do, though, because I was like, why are you doing this? You've got Gran Turismo. It sells all the time for you guys.
Yeah, but it was Evolution Studios, and they were like, they have they had a good racing game pedigree as well. The next year was much better. I played Bloodborne and Until Dawn and the Order 1886. Like, on PlayStation. But yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what PlayStation have got. It seems like they might have back buttons, which will be Really cool. I like the fact that the Xbox controller will remember different devices. It's going to be, because that's going to be important once xCloud starts rolling out and you start using your controller on your phone, on your PC, on your tablet.
And like they've already said that this bad boy will play on the Series X, so I'm happy
Yeah.
with that.
I mean, so
mine's
will
the first version. Mine's the first version, not the sequel.
I'm pretty sure that as well. So, because that's what that's been the whole thing. Since even Xbox One X was a thing, the whole thing has been like, it's an Xbox family. So like everything's gonna be like working together across the family. So I think the controllers that we've got are still gonna work. I just think there'll obviously be a new one. Do you think, and this is just something I've just thought about, do you think come whenever this console comes out, there's going to be two SKUs for the console? One where you can buy it with a controller like normal, and one for people like us who already have Xbox controllers with the option to buy it for like 50 quid cheaper without a controller.
It would be smart if they did that, but no.
Because that just occurred to me when we were saying these probably work with it. So why would I need to buy one with a controller? Hang on a minute.
It'd be for us, like we would know, but for just the casual buyer, no.
No, well,
and we all know the sales assistants, they won't help you.
It'll be an easy thing. Like, the sales assistants will learn very quickly when people keep returning consoles because they didn't have controllers in. But it's just a simple thing where it's just like there'll be a picture of a controller on the box, and then on the other ones there will be no controller of a picture on the box, which will prompt customers who are not necessarily in the know to go, does this come with a controller? And then the person look at the box and go, and then find the contents of the box and then go, oh, it doesn't say it comes with a controller.
Like we talked about before we started podcasting, Amy, the UK people are not simple people. That's already been proven today, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the world ain't simple either. So
it's fine. I'm just tweeting Phil. I'm gonna tell him my idea. Be like, hey Phil, you could sell this for £50 cheaper.
You could. There's no doubt about it. If you want to get it down to $450 instead of $499.
I'm tweeting Phil after this podcast and be like, hey Phil, I've got a great idea that'll help you sell more Xboxes.
But we need to talk about my contract.
I don't mind. It's fine. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
There's a bunch of stories. I'm probably going to skip most of them because they're kind of depressing. I put a lot of these stories in here just because I didn't know how long that was going to take. If it only
I say we do one more story, we flip a coin for which one, and then we go on to the last thing.
All right, okay. I was going to say, we're definitely doing the last thing. Okay, we'll do this one then.
Yeah, we need to tell people that
someone
incredibly handsome here got it right again.
Interesting. Number 4, Gamescom 2020 is still going ahead for now. This is from Fraser Brown over at PC Gamer, who writes, with GDC, E3 and countless other events postponed or cancelled due to the coronavirus, the organisers of Gamescom have received enquiries about how it could be affected, especially since events with more than 1,000 attendees have been banned in its host city of Cologne. It's not until August, however, and will apparently be going ahead as planned. In 2018, Gamescom saw 370,000 people squeeze inside Cologne's Cologne Mass across 5 days. In the height of summer, with thousands of bodies pressed together, some of them skipping a shower to get all the games. It's not exactly the healthiest or cleanest place in the world at the best of times, but the ban on large events only goes up to April 10th, though that could change, and probably will. Quote, on 10/3/2020, the city of Cologne banned all major events with more than 1,000 participants up to and including 10/4. That's probably supposed to say 2020, not 202. 2020. On the basis of a decree issued by the state government on the same day, reads the statement from the organisers. Since Gamescom takes place at the end of August 2020, we are currently not affected by this decree. However, we will of course follow the recommendations of the responsible authorities regarding major events, evaluate them on a daily basis, and make our decisions after careful consideration. The preparations for Gamescom 2020 are continuing as planned according to the current status for the determined date. End quote. If the event's cancelled, you'll get refunds and stuff. It's fine. Gamescom's still going ahead, which is not a surprise because again, it's in August.
Yeah, it's I'm not surprised right now at all. It's gonna be like I said, they're gonna take it by month basically until
Yeah.
we see what's happening and everything like that with what's happening with the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
So
Well, the thing about GDC was a big one for this. E3 also probably got caught up in this. Is when those events got cancelled, and when people were talking about whether they were going to go ahead or not, there was everything like the worldwide situation surrounding coronavirus was a lot more vague. Like there were no lockdowns. Like there were no like bans on mass gatherings. It was very much just a case of companies trying to do the best with like the information that they had, which wasn't much. Whereas now, like Gamescom being positioned in August, and now countries are starting to actually like put out specific information. Like the ban on mass gatherings in Japan is until a specific date. So Gamescom can't just be like, well, at the moment, and yeah, fully aware that the date could change depending on the situation in the country and the rest of the world. But they can't just point to that and go, okay, well, we're still good because we happen in August and this ban only goes to April. If the ban is extended to August, then Gamescom turn around and go, well, we're not on. But for right now, it is a case of like, well, yeah, we can do this. Like, they're in a very different position to the ESA were with E3 because, like, there was no like I say, there was no specific information available for like bans and stuff like that. Like LA declared a state of emergency, but then it still took them a couple of weeks to issue the order for people to stay in their homes, except for essential travel. That kind of thing. Like everybody's learning as they're going.
pretty much, yeah, and that's like it's a completely unrelated topic, but it's come out for the Olympics. They're gonna have a decision within like the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. The Olympics is a
so.
The Olympics is a much bigger event than a Gamescom or even an E3.
Yeah.
So
that's millions instead of like 300,000.
The bigger your event, the sooner you've got to take a decision on stuff like this. I think for sure.
Oh, it's gonna be interesting, like I said. Like, just stay safe, everyone. It's the best thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Social distancing. Stay and play video games. And just be safe. And don't travel around unless you absolutely need to, because yeah, right now the world is insane. In a couple of years, we'll be looking back on this going, hey, do you remember coronavirus? That was crazy, wasn't it? But until then, we need to just live our lives differently. And it sucks, but we'll get through it.
Agreed. We will get through it.
Okay. Let's move on to the final news story of the week. Number 5. White House doctor, and this is a quote, "We need millennials to stay healthy because they know how to speedrun video games." This is from Ethan Gack over at Kotaku, who writes, during today's White House press conference, the Trump administration's coronavirus task force response coordinator, Dr. Deborah Briggs, called on millennials to take the threat of infection more seriously. Why? Because they are, quote, part of that group that brought us innovation, particularly throughout all of their ability to look around corners and skip through games, end quote. Quote continues, sorry. "I always went level by level. I didn't realize you could go from level 3 to level 7. That's what they've taught us. They look for things that we don't see. We need them to be healthy," end quote. It's unclear which game Briggs was talking about. Maybe Super Mario Bros. 3. The remark came after she cited unspecified reports out of France and Italy that many young people have fallen seriously ill due to coronavirus. She went on to speculate that this may be the result of younger people thinking the virus is only dangerous to older people and those with pre-existing medical conditions. So I shared this in the group chat at the beginning of the week because it just pops up on my Twitter feed because I follow Kotaku, obviously, and a bunch of the Kotaku writers. And I was flabbergasted.
I can believe that.
Yeah, like it takes a lot in this day and age with the people that we have in charge of things around the world. It takes a lot to surprise me, like in terms of did they really say that? This is one of the few times where I think like the American government has got me, and I was like, no, this can't be. This is an Onion article, and then I was like, no, it's a Kotaku article. So I clicked it, and I was like, what's the joke? Where's the punchline? There is no punchline. This is something that the person in charge of the American task force, coronavirus task force, legitimately said in a press briefing. Millennials need to stay healthy because they know how to speedrun games and look around corners. Because apparently we're the only generation who knows how to look around corners.
I don't know what to say.
Nothing come to mind.
I think my brain died inside.
Was that when I first showed it to you, or now, or both? Did your brain recover and then I killed it again?
Yeah, I think you killed my brain again.
I'm sorry about that.
It's alright, don't worry.
It's a unfortunate side effect of doing this podcast. That sometimes we just have to read something so stupid.
That it makes us stupid at the
that
end.
it makes us stupider from having read it. But also, we just, like, this is a podcast where we don't just read the news, but we talk about, like, the thing that we've just read. And every now and again, we get something we have to read, and we have nothing to say about it because it's just so monumentally insane that I'm just going to read the headline again. We need millennials to stay healthy because they know how to speed run video games. Of all of the talents, like, for everything that an entire age group of people can, like, all have in common. Because I can't speedrun video games. Not properly. Like, I could do Resident Evil 2 with a rocket launcher. But, like, I can't do Resident Evil 2 without cheats. Like, yeah, does that mean I'm worthless? Like, I don't know. That's weird. I have other talents. I can do things. I just sent my tweet out to Phil Spencer.
Nice.
Yeah. I need to tweet him about the charity live stream, which might be very difficult to plan and logistics for. If we're all locked in our own houses.
It's probably going to be all of us in our separate rooms. So.
Yeah, that could be awkward for a live stream.
Yeah, it's not going to be. We'll have to talk about that off stream.
Yeah, 100%. But I should tweet Phil about it. Be like, hey Phil, I'm playing on your Xbox. Let's move on to games out this week and try and bring some life back to both our brains and this podcast. Speedrunning.
Let's do it, Amy.
Speedrunning. Games out this week. On March 23rd, Half-Life Alyx comes out on PC VR. On March 24th, Deep Sky Derelicts comes out on PlayStation 4. Bleeding Edge comes out on PC and Xbox One. And Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York comes out on PC and Nintendo Switch. On March 27th, Gigantosaurus, the game, comes out on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Lost Words Beyond the Page comes out on Stadia. And One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 comes out on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. I'm fucking gutted about that Lost Words game. Like, I played it at EGX a couple of years ago. I really enjoyed it. I've been looking forward to it coming out. And it's a bloody Stadia timed exclusive, so now it's like, well, I can't play it. Brilliant. Thanks.
Well, you can. You just have to join Stadia.
Yeah, I have to buy the whole... Because they still haven't released the free... Like, I'd buy it on Stadia. Like, and it would be my... Oh, I'll try Stadia using this game. But it's like, yeah, can't do that right now, because you haven't released the rest of Stadia yet, Google.
Release the Kraken.
Like, I want to buy this game on your service, and I can't. I'm looking forward to Bleeding Edge. I just have a feeling it's come out at the wrong time for me to really be able to put a lot of time into it.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you, we're going to give it a try.
Oh, 100%. I'm going to play it and do a video of it, but between getting back into Apex Legends, still needing to try Call of Duty, and having Animal Crossing, I don't know how much time I'm going to end up playing Bleeding Edge 4 after I've done a video. Like, because I have already played the game in beta, so I do kind of have a grasp of it, and it's like, it's a fun game. I don't think it's going to be a game where I'm like, where we're like, what we're doing tonight, where it's like, we're recording this podcast earlier than usual so we can play Apex together. I don't think we'll ever be in a position where it's like, yeah, let's play Bleeding Edge, like, for a few hours. Let's move the schedule. Besides, I'm going to be stuck in VR for at least a day playing Half-Life. Finally. I haven't used these controllers for months.
I shall have to de-dust them everything.
I bought new double and Oculus. I love you, but you need to sort this shit out as well. I bought new AA batteries specifically for Half-Life because I knew I was going to need them, and I might get locked in my house. All right, Moody, let's play Guess the Score. Actually, I'll do the rules. I always forget to do the rules first. Every single week, myself and my co-host, who's usually Mr. Moody, I'm going to be honest at this point, sit down, look at the games that are coming out over the course of the next week, and we pick one game to guess the OpenCritic score of. We both take a guess. Whoever gets closest gets a point. If someone manages to guess the score dead on, they get 2 points. Last week, we chose to guess the score of Doom Eternal, and I fell victim to the same thing that I fell victim to the week before, but it's fine because I don't mind. I guessed that Doom Eternal would get an OpenCritic average of 93. Mr. Moody guessed that Doom Eternal would get an OpenCritic average of 91. Doom Eternal, currently at the time of recording, sits at a 90. It went down and then it went back up again. I was tracking it for Fantasy Game League, which we'll talk about once we've done all this, because I need to mention something I noticed when I logged in this morning. So yeah, Moody gets a point for that one because you were closest. Current scores: Amy 3, co-host 5. I got Dreams, Warcraft 3, and One Punch Man. Man, it's been a long time since I got one. And my co-host has 5 with Zombie Army 4, Ori, and Doom Eternal, and 2 points from guessing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Bang on. This week, Moody, a couple of games we could choose from. I decided to go with Half-Life Alyx. What do you think the OpenCritic average of Half-Life Alyx is gonna be?
This could go
in so many different directions.
Yeah, this really could. From what I hear from people who have played it, they really do enjoy it. They really think it's really canny. But it is a VR game here. This is a game. This could be. Oh, I honestly. Do I go with my brain or do I go with my heart?
Go with whatever you've gone with for the last 3 weeks, because you're on a 3-week winning streak at the moment.
That's true.
Like, it's been a month since I've won one of these.
88.
88, eh? So, last week, and the week before we did Ori, and I did the not so sensible thing of guessing higher than your already high prediction, because I was like, people almost are underestimating Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and I think it's going to be reviewed really well. It did review really well, but not quite well enough. And then Doom Eternal came up, and even you assumed that I would have learned from the mistake I made the previous week, but I didn't, because I had faith that Doom Eternal would review incredibly well. And again, it did review incredibly well. A 90 is nothing to sniff at on OpenCritic.
That's true.
It just didn't quite get up to that 93 that I was looking for. And I said at the time last week, like, if I lose this entire competition in 2020 because, like, I've shot for the moon and missed, I'll be fine. So, I'm definitely gonna go with a 91 for Half-Life Alyx, because At this point, it's my brand. But
I'm rooting for you, Amy. I seriously am rooting for you. If Half-Life Apex gets a bloody 91, I will buy you a happily bottle of wine for that.
I don't drink, but if you buy me a bottle of Iron Brew, we'll call it good.
I will buy you 2 bottles of Iron Brew.
Oh, that's nice. I feel like it's going to be...
That's still cheaper than a bottle of wine, so...
It's still, yeah, that's fine. I don't mind. It's not the money, it's the thought that counts. No, I think that it could be the killer app for VR, like, in terms of how well it works, how well it advertises VR. Because like, there's been some like amazing VR experiences, but aside from like Beat Saber, nothing's really, aside from that, probably just Beat Saber actually, nothing's really broken into the mainstream to say like VR is a must-on thing. I think this might be the big crossover hit that VR needs. And just looking at the gameplay and what people again have been saying about it, I think they've been really digging it. The score for Half-Life Alyx could potentially be a bit more violent. That's not the word I'm looking for. Just because I don't know whether like Doom Eternal has like 80 something reviews. I don't know if Half-Life Alyx is going to have like 80 something reviews. For starters, like PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo sites aren't going to be reviewing it.
Yeah, it's only on one thing, so...
Yeah, but I did get a nice boost when I logged into Fantasy Critic this morning to have a look at some stuff, and I realised that Persona 5 Royal has a 96.
That's bonkers.
On OpenCritic.
Absolutely bonkers.
Which is obviously in my Fantasy Critic team.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. I have to have a look.
Yeah, the points aren't totaled yet because it's not out till the 31st of March. And the points don't get added until... But yeah, it's like, oh shit. Because obviously I'm not in the lead anymore because you and Keith have had Doom and Animal Crossing and stuff come out. But then I scrolled down and I was like, oh shit. Like I saw the number without the score and I was like, damn. So I got that nice little boost even though as I was looking at Doom Eternal going, game reviewers just need a little bit more positivity in their lives, you know? Just a little bit more and I could have gotten my awesome thing. I could have gotten my points back, but I'll catch up. There's a long way to go in 2020 yet, Mr. Moody. And a lot of obscure games between us and then. Where it's anybody's game. I'm putting thought into things like Half-Life and Doom, but I mean, you give me Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, and I just jokingly say it's going to get 69, and then it gets a 69, and it's like, yeah, cool. Whatever. That's going to do it for episode 198 of the Words About Games cast. Thank you very much for joining me, Mr. Moody. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, as always, Ian.
The next time we sit here and do this podcast, I will have been allowed to leave the house. Cabin fever will be beaten. Because I will have gone for a walk. Nowhere particular. I'll have just left the house and just walked until I've decided I'm sick of walking, and then I'll walk back.
That's fair. That is fair.
Oh man, let's go play Apex. Say
Why
bye.
not?
Say bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, hearts. We're doing hearts. Arr, matey.